What is going on, students? It's Devlin Cassidy, aka The Scholar, back at you guys today with a new setup for Match Mondays. I'm trying this out just to see if you guys enjoy this type of content with the hand cam here, just that way you guys can see what's in my hand clearly, just that way I can talk about my decisions a little more. In this matchup today, we have Spike Brothers versus Chaos Breakers, so a very uphill battle for my boy Walter on the left, but it's gonna be a good one. So I'm very excited to have this little matchup here, as it's Link Joker is like always a clan I've always liked to play. Never really to own. It's been really expensive, but just so that way you guys can talk and see about the matchup here, I'm gonna play it for you all today. Before we get though into the match, I'm going second. If you guys have not entered my giveaway yet for the white double deck box, that is still live, and that winner is declared on February 28th. So the link to the video to enter is up above me, and I hope you guys enter and win. And make sure you guys go shop with Dank Ritual if you enjoy the mats or any of the other products that you see that keep my gaming accessories look really fly. And of course, if you need any cards, please go shop with KingslayerCards.com. Use the promo code SCHOLAR, save 5% off on your order, as it really just supports the channel in immense ways. But let's get rocking and rolling here. Ryan starts us off. Draw. Check top 5 here for the little and elects to whiff here. Just shuffling up here, kind of waiting to see what happens. Draw for turn, draw into that freeze ray. That's big. If he decides to grade 2 game me, I can just ride up into the freeze ray and pass. Reveal the harmonics, grab guardian ticket, quick shield, all that good stuff, and then check top 5 for 3 here. Oh, I just realized I forgot to shuffle. Oh, what an L. What an L. That is on me. That is on me. That's probably, I definitely convinced myself in my head I wrote a Craving Claw. That is my fault. That is so my fault. Rides the Rorna, calls a Greedon here. Actually pretty huge. Because yeah, probably the only thing I would have taken is a Heal Guardian, if I'm being honest. Yeah, so calls the Acrobat Verity to reveal, to grab his Rising Nova from deck. Presents that little cut. Discards Jumbo to add the Rising Nova to hand. And goes into swing here with the Rorna for 10. Drive check, no trigger. Damage check is that crit here. The fact that card's still applicable today in 2024, man, just shows you how free that card is. Lets me ride up here into Zirconium. Top card of the deck is locked. Just checking to see what it is. It's a Breach Spurt. Since you put it in the back row, I'm going to draw a card to get 10k. Looking back on it, I wish I hadn't put back the Photon. I didn't know he was going to commit early. So this Photon actually would have been able to stop the whole entire like ride up turn per se. For Rising Nova, which is the 3 Vanguard swing attacks, would have been like 2, because he would have gotten the would have had to commit more cards to not even get the full effect with the max. So I had to draw PG here as he no guards it, gives him the damage. Low lock card action here. Rides into Rising Nova, of course. Going to put the Force 1 and the Force 2 on the Vanguard circle, because that boy gonna restand. You guys can see here, my hand though is pretty healthy to tank this type of turn. I have 2 PGs in hand, the Guardian ticket. So yeah, pretty overall shield. I don't feel like anything too crazy, especially like if he hits the over trigger or anything like that on this turn. Gets the 4 called to be able now to have Max's effect applicable. Gonna swing here. I'm gonna no guard this first one in hopes that he just like doesn't hit like double crit to where I'm uncomfortable. Unfortunately, the Mineral Lady and a Chaos Breaker go to damage. The Mineral Lady promo going away kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Slurps the 4 up to get the fading. Swings again here. Gonna drop the PG, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I dropped the PG. Yeah, drop the drop PG. Pitching the quick shield if I can speak. Twin drive again. Both blanks. Ryan's trying to get some sustaining power here. Swings. I'm just trying to think like if those are the cards I want to commit. Yeah, it's 25 for the over trigger. So I just say 25 because I kind of want to hold the PGs in hand. And I don't really mind losing the Globidia. So I draw here. I'm going to ride into Freeze Ray. So I'm at a minimal damage point. Where the reason I don't immediately ride into Breaker is because I don't get the full benefit of Universe. And his hand size is like kind of low. And I haven't seen him drive check a draw PG yet. So I feel pretty comfortable actually going into Barrio End and forcing a PG out of his hand just to know that I can rip a bunch of cards if he doesn't. Plus while getting rid of the marker. Because if he just goes into a minimal impact galley turn, I have to definitely guard whatever he gives, like the Force 1 and the Force 2, and then something else, since I'm not going to be on Chaos Breaker to do all that stuff. So, on place here, Barrier End rips both of those markers. And I get 20k and 2 crit, so big number. 55. Or 45, my apologies. My fault. We'll call Zirconium. Gonna activate Zirconium's effect now to make the Barrio End a 4 crit now. Because base crit comes 2, got 2 more crit by ripping both of those markers. Gonna draw because put it in the back row. And then this turn vary again, like low committal. I can just call the Hanali for assurance. Like if he tries to fully combo me on the follow up, the Hanali plus the Freeze Ray like absolutely shuts his turn down. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. So this is 45 for crit with the Barrio End. Goes into the draw PG, so he forces it out. I give the crit and all the other effects to there. That and the heal trigger, so power, and I do get to recover one, which is huge. Recover the Mineral Lady promo, add these both to hand. And then give him some more damage to play with. This is going to be 10, 2 triggers, 46, 2. And are those both acrobat verities? Yep. Both each of the G and the V acrobat. All right. So I will say, my opponent does something here that's pretty smart. In terms of like raw value, just because he goes immediately into the stride and doesn't want to follow up yet with the gift markers. So no ride then stride, just goes immediately for it. Goes into a galley here. As you can see, like, my hand is just very healthy. Like 2 heals, a PG, a few crits, breaker for the follow-up for next turn. Just really good overall in terms of like my positioning. So just blindly swings the galley here and doesn't activate the effect, which I thought was pretty interesting. I think he knew I was just gonna lock whatever he called, so I just no guarded here. He does hit the heal, which is big. Just to take a damage here, and then of course lock the boy. So unlocks these 2. Nothing happens at the end of the turn because I'm not on Chaos Breaker, so I can't do anything about that. Draw here. So I ride into Chaos Breaker, and I stride. So a lot of people's intuition would be like, yo, go Deluge here or something like that, just so like there's more pressure, because he starts off at 4, so the Deluge then would be like more like incentive, right? But I go Universe here just to get a guaranteed clog of the front row, especially since I don't have a close in hand. If I had a close, maybe I would have considered the Deluge, but especially with no close, I just need to get a front row rearguard circle locked, so I'm not under as much pressure that if he decides to commit more, now that I'm not on the freeze ray, just to go for it. So activate close here. I'm gonna say call to that rearguard circle as locked. Goes for the thing here. Yeah. It's an ambush Dexter for the card he called as locked. And since there's now more than 2 face-up cards in the G-Zone, I'm going to lock the Breach Spurt as well, just to prevent any agile fullbacks from going into that zone, to have more attacks for me. And then, again, I'm just kind of thinking in terms of, like, for columns, like, density, like, what do I need? The more I think about it, the more like the worse Glaubidia gets. Definitely probably gonna cut those for Cold Deaths, if I'm being completely honest. It's sure like it gets the power, but like again, Ryan does some pretty good counterplay here in the future of the match where it's like, all right, so I CB to say call to a rearguard circle as locked, can be one that's occupied by a rearguard. I am going to get the 6k though automatically because it's going to go for it. Forgot that Ryan pitched the doll. That's like on me completely. So yeah, just honestly was trying to find a way to pressure, and without seeing photons for most of this game, that's been a problem. So now it's 28 for 2 crit with the triple drive. G guards here. goes into Hecaton Gase. Hecaton Gase is going to return the heal, a Breach Spurt, and an Acrobat Verdi. Pretty good picks. So now it makes that 38, so it's 1 to pass. Drops into their Ambush Dexter for a 2 to pass. First check is Breaker, second check Craven Claw, third check is a crit. Yeah, I give all effects to the Zirconium. Just to make that now like a 26k lane. So yeah, I say 15-23, so 15k shield to block this one, or 15k shield to not take 2 damage on both sides. And since his hand's getting a little smaller, he does kind of have to give me this on hit if he doesn't want to go up to a really high damage count. So then I go check top 5, and I actually come to an interesting decision here. So I could either take the Carbon to get a Craving Claw from Ursul, or I could take a Close to force more cards out of his hand. And I go in the long run with the Close because the Galley turn doesn't get him a lot of cards in hand. He'd have to go like Violence Ace, and then again I still think I could rip through a lot of cards just because now he's at like a lot higher damage threshold. This is where I can start the whole deluge process, for sure. So G-Guards again here. Goes into Terrible Linus. Terrible Linus, big enough just to get another GB flip. It's clearly indicating to me he's going to go into Violence Ace next turn. So I D-Stride, and I go crazy. Rerides into Rising Nova. Gonna put Force 1 and Force 2 here on Nova. Reconsiders, but then again just realizes he's probably gonna go into Violence Ace here. Strides with a Nova. Goes into Violence Ace. Gonna call that crit in his hand? I think he calls that. I think he does very much so end up call that. Yeah, calls the Rising crit. Activates Violence Ace's effect to flip Harmonics, which is an interesting choice. Like, I do stay on Breaker the rest of this game, so like in the long run it doesn't hurt him, but yeah, it's a tough sight to see. Draws 5, yeah, which isn't terrible. Goes to a draw 6. This is 28, 33, 43, 2 crit. And so now I kind of go for the cheeky play. Very well knowing that I'm going into a Deluge next turn, I really don't need a lot of Counterblast. Especially considering the play that I'm about to do, which I think is Destiny Guardian. To unlock 2, retire 1 to rip the force markers off. So again, like, I don't know why I'm like yawning like crazy, but I G-Guard here, and it's definitely for the Destiny Guardian play. Go here, yep, into our favorite bird. And the Destiny Guardian's really here just to mitigate the crit. Like, I really wouldn't probably have gone Destiny Guardian or G-Guarded for that matter if it didn't have the crit. So because I want to keep that front row rear guard circle, I don't decide to unlock that one, and just to get rid of the doll immediately. That way I can Soul Blast 1, retire that one, draw a card, rip both of those markers away, and then I get 2 force markers now of my own. So then I get to build up these side columns to make these numbers better, because the Vanguard is always going to have pressure as long as I have a Zirconium, which is most of this game because he never really got to swing with a breach spurt. And then I make that 28 to 53. So now I say over trigger or 3-2 pass. Hits the draw, gives everything there. Third check is a crit, everything there. Unfortunate, off by 1, but guard up here. Or, oh, was it 2 to pass? Maybe it was 2 to pass. Hold on. Was that 25, 25, 38, 38, 53 to... Oh, yeah, no, it was 33. Yeah, because I only lost the 10K. Yeah, so 2 to pass. My fault, my fault. Draws another thorium here. So, interesting. Yeah. Okay, Ride Breaker for the extra soul. Pitch close here. Go into Deluge. Gonna activate close effect. Please call from your hand to a rear guard circle as locked. There we go. Okay, locked card number 1. And so this is where Ryan kind of misplays. So any combination of Zirconium or Photon now, as I'm going to be able to lock his entire board. So I go Zirconium number 1. I'm trying to draw into actually the Photon, knowing that Ryan he's going to be averse to be calling that to the back, or be incentivized to call that to the back. So I draw the card again. I miss on a Photon. Like all my Photons are just non-existent right now. So unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to spend some CB here to get it up. So call over the Zirconium. To activate the Zirconium's effect, top card of your deck as locked, please, good sir. And we'll call over. So yeah, the big thing here for Ryan was not calling over that ambush Dexter off the close. If he did, 1, 2. Or, well, maybe I do. Actually, now thinking about it, I still locked his entire board. Because Ryan understands that you have to kind of go GB8 in this matchup. Because we don't have any real way to answer a front row card. Which is the important part. So, trying to mitigate the entire front lane is what needs to happen. So, lock and... lock. So now that's 3 cards out of his hand, as well as his entire board is now locked, and I'm about to deal him a free damage. I believe I take the back right. Yeah. So now four cards locked. As you can see, this is pretty tough. Deluge here is a straight 28, 2 crit. Show me something. Gonna go for the PG. Yeah. First check is a crit, so I make this Zirconium lane a lot bigger. Since it's just a magic number, because it's the 28 Honolly and a Photon finally, but too little, too late. I've blown through the CB, unfortunately, but yeah, Photon makes it all work. And then I swing next the big number with the crit. I'm just trying to force like as many cards as I can out of his hand before this final swing. And Ryan does have 1 G-Guard left. As you can see, again, my hand is very healthy. Elementaria, both Thoriums, another Honolly. Like, yeah. Now that he's not multi-attacking, I don't have to care about that. So now that Honolly is literally just a blind booster. You're going to pay the CB here to get up. That Zirconium right now is 48 to crit. It's a pretty big number. So I believe he attempts to return back 3 grade 1s. Yeah, puts back double Dexter, a Gyro Slinger. So it'd be 45, 58. But if he just puts a grade 2 back, then it's 53 and the attack is still guarded. I think that's what he ends up doing, if my memory serves me correctly. I think that's why he's still pondering his last target. And puts the Rorna back. So yeah, 53, attack is still guarded, and returns 3 cards to the deck. So all good here. And this is just 36. So 25k to guard this one. Goes 15 and 10 more. So Ryan gets it here. He draws, and he's now realizing that this is like kind of his fate. Cannot really afford to go Violence Ace again, unfortunately. Another misplay too, probably on the Violence Ace turn, was not pumping your soul like onto your Vanguard. That's an effect that a lot of people forget about. That Violence Ace can just be like, oh yeah, okay, Soul Blast, like have the PG or like get got. So re-rides a Nova again. Force 1 and Force 2 strides. I can't remember what he goes into exactly. Yeah, Gelta's deck. It's too small for this Violence Ace, because that Violence Ace will be drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. So yeah, he'd be going through 12. And I think there's like only like 18 cards left in his deck. Like it's just too many. Like for his deck like to actively not do anything, because now what you do is you just essentially glue ball turtle. You glue ball turtle until unless they have like 5 cards in hand, then you go Deluge. But you just glue ball turtle for the rest of this game because you just keep their board absolutely locked down. Swings the galley here just for free cost. Unfortunately has really nothing that he can do in the external, which I feel bad for. Yeah, I just Thorium PG, pitching the Honolly. And since he has 3 or more locked cards, I'm going to draw the card. Draw PG. He keeps finding these PGs every turn for the Vanguard, which is huge, but gonna de-stride here. Yep. And now the G zones, the count he knows is now well over 8. So if he ever gets the chance to GB8, I am gonna activate Breaker here just to get these columns a little more unmanageable for him. I think getting 2 force markers again is really good. That's the problem like with Rising, is this, it makes the 2 gifts, so like into the matchup, if your opponent's able to resolve the Chaos Breaker effect, you just like are giving them 2 free force markers like every turn. It's just really rough. Now I stand up here, draw, and yeah, I feel pretty confident now that I got this. this is literally a stride glue ball, activate glue ball effect, call a way to get me soul back, and we're gonna keep doing this. Like, that's unfortunately where like the game state's at now, because now glue ball is gonna give these zirconiums like a bunch of power. It's like 9k. So now those zirconiums on their own are like asking for a bunch of guard before their booster. Gluzol's effect here to go to 9. Calls the crit. So this is 28, 38, 47, and I draw another card. So, yep, now there's 3 heals in my hand, an Elementaria, and a PG. Like, there's just nothing, unfortunately. Guards with his over trigger. I think that makes that literally 2 to pass. I'm gonna give crit to the magic number column zirconium, and the third check is the carbon. So my deck size actually is getting pretty low too. You know, drawing the card here or there has made me kind of turbo through the deck as well. Unfortunately, drawing the OT off the claw was rough too. So this is 48k to crit. Gonna give the PG there. And 46. And I think that is gonna do it. Yep. Seeing if he has anything else. And I am gonna grab it off that. And that is gonna do it. So there it is. There's a new format for Match Mondays. Please, if you guys really did enjoy this new kind of setup with the hand camera and everything, I will be willing to do this more often. Just that way you guys can really get into my mind and see what we're doing. And this is definitely going to be the standard for once I'm going to be able to make all my channel membership content. This will be the absolute gold standard for you all, and I'll try to do this like once or twice a month just because it's a lot of process to set up and everything like that. But as long as it helps you guys become better players, that's what I want for you all in the end. But with that being said, if you guys haven't entered the giveaway, make sure you guys go do that. Again, it closes February 28th, and I will announce a winner on that date. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. Let me know your thoughts on Chaos and Spike Brothers. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. God bless. I love you all, and take care.
Stay with me.